All right, so just like literally 1 minute, just who you are and why are you on the stage, besides I made you, okay?
Louis Heron and Sean made me. This is actually, this is the third commitment I've made to be a part of the IS-20 group. And things came up in the past, so I couldn't miss this one. So definitely glad to be here. And
Dealer principal, you've owned and sold
yep.
multiple dealerships?
Yeah, I've had a Toyota dealership. I've had a Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram dealership. I had a used car lot, of which all of those are sold now. So that's pretty much the story. So
only a week ago.
That's right. I just sold the Chrysler store a week ago.
1 week ago.
Yeah.
All right.
John Luciano, RK Auto Group, Vineland, New Jersey, because Jim made me. That's basically why I'm here. But I'm here to learn just like everyone else, and if I can give back, I've learned a lot from the 20 groups in the past here with Sean. So any opportunity I can give back, I'm certainly going to do that.
Roy Davila. I'm a pre-owned director for 3 rooftops in South Texas. Very similar to what he was saying. CarGurus kind of gave us a tough one to swallow not too long ago when we were doing some checking how we can cut expenses and whatnot. CarGurus, Auto Trader, there was a lot of them that came up, and we came up with some pretty creative ideas and ways to not stop selling cars, to actually sell some more. So and cut our costs. So.
Jim G. from RK Chevrolet Kia Subaru, Vineland, New Jersey. Dealer principal with my partner in our Toyota store, Bob McCormick, over there. This month we've been...
The vendor's going to pounce on you now.
This month it's our 4th year with Dealer Senate Sean and Karen. And just like our business, it's always changing. So is the internet department, online sales. So we have to stay up on the latest, what we are not doing well, opportunities for us to do well. And that's why I love coming to these meetings.
Absolutely. Thank you. I want to just kind of lead this. First of all, this is not going to be a slam on any vendor, not even CarGurus, but he's a little bit more classy than I am, apparently, because he just kind of skipped over a lot of the stuff that you guys already know what happened. So I'm going to give you my version, okay, the unabridged version here. So I really didn't have any issue. He called me up and said, look, I have some problems with this vendor. Can you just check this out? So we tried very professional. If you listen to that recording, it was mad professional until the very end, where he was basically, go F yourself, it is what it is. And then I even told him, I said, listen, not a good move. We're about to just drop, the bomb on you guys in our group. And because of all you in the Millionaire Car Salesman group, there's been literally thousands and thousands of views and shares of just the crazy horror story. I didn't even know how bad it was. For example, one of our stores, which is Bob Ruth Ford, in Dillsburg, Pennsylvania. This is what's crazy. Can you share, what was it, $3,600 you're spending at first?
I started at 700, then 22.
But when this debacle came, it's 3,600, right?
No, 48.
48, okay.
Yeah.
So for less cars, my client had less cars than you, which was Bob Ruth Ford. He was spending $7,900 a month for less units. So here's the problem that I have as a consultant. The biggest thing is that there's no real fair price policy. Now, I do get it that there's regional, there's different types of, New York is a hotter market than, let's say, Tuscaloosa, Alabama, but egregiously with no metrics whatsoever. Now think about this, and this is what I want your opinion with, because you have dealer, GSM, dealer principal, pre-owned manager. One thing that I think that is really not good for our industry is that a lot of these companies are saying that dealers are shady. Maybe they're not saying it point blank, but they're saying it wink, wink. You can't trust the dealer. That's why you got to go to our website, and it's our inventory. It's their inventory, but it's on their website. But
Wrong.
But the problem is this, though. You're killing me, brother. Is that who's keeping the vendors honest? Who is the true vendor, so to speak, out there? Who's the one that's basically setting the rules and making sure that they're not price gouging, cracking you like baby seals? The dealers don't have any type of help. And so that's why we're doing this. We tried to go through the appropriate channels with CarGurus, but it got escalated to the CEO of CarGurus, basically called him and said, can you please tell Sean to calm down? I mean, that's straight up. Can you imagine that? The CEO of CarGurus called him up, was like, please get your pit bull off of my ass. And he was like, just do the right thing. And he basically told them, it is what it is. If you don't like it, and that's horrible. How are you a $3.9 billion corporation and you don't care what your people are saying? So I want to open it up to that. How do you feel? You know, it's your family business. As a dealer, you have companies that are saying you can't go to the dealers because they're not going to give you the best deal.
Well, you have that across the industries. I'll give us our little history with CarGurus and what we're dealing with right now. We weren't paying as much as everybody else that's been out here, but we do an ROI every month, and we weren't seeing the return, so we had already dropped them. But we probably get more leads from them now, not paying them, and make more deals on those leads. But that leads to another problem, is that just before we left, we had a Better Business Bureau complaint, and the complaint was the customer thought we were gouging them, and because CarGurus told them they should be paying X amount of dollars for this car, if you don't get anything other than that number, then the dealer's taking advantage of you. That's one. You take another vendor, like you took a V-Auto now, and Dale Pollock, who has since sold and made his millions, is now reversing his thoughts and saying maybe market-based pricing is not the best way to go to race to the bottom. So he made his millions, and now he's sort of turning and changing his opinion on how
Oh, it gets even better. That's why I'm pulling up somebody on here. Just come up right up front. Keep going.
So in terms of CarGurus, we haven't had to deal with what Dave had to deal with. We had already gotten out of that game.
Dave?
I'm sorry.
Danny.
Danny, I'm sorry.
That's right, Gus.
But in talking to some of other dealers, say in my NADA 20 group, they all still see and are paying them, and I'm saying, what are you guys doing? And it's amazing how many people or dealers don't know how CarGurus is treating them, and by getting the message out through you, it's very helpful.
So because you just hit me with this. I didn't even know that. So you got a Better Business Bureau, like, complaint against you?
Complaint.
So this is the thing, is that, and this is what you talked about in the whole video, is that they are basically saying fair, unfair, but they're not calculating all the reconditioning, all these details. And I think it's egregious and absolutely insane that a freaking dealer principal, by the way, let me just tell you, I know him personally, friends. He is the #1 Chevy dealership in the United States for making strides for breast cancer for 4 years in a row.
Yes.
That's not a scumbag dealership. That's a good dude, you know what I mean? And so that's a good dude, but because people's faulty technology, you know, and their non-win-win mentality is compromising your family business, which is just unfortunate. Now, I just introduce yourself.
Mike Kavanaugh.
Okay, now there's a reason, because it's so funny you just brought that up. And this is not rehearsed, we're just freestyling, as you can tell. Can you repeat that last thing about, you know, Dale Pollock and the whole velocity?
So I'll give a little bit of background. When Dale Pollock brought out V-Auto, he came and spoke to my NADA 20 group, and there were guys, no way, these are my prices, I'll do it. And then you realize, okay, everyone was getting on it, and all it was a race to the bottom. It was an absolute race to the bottom for a few years there, and everyone's telling you, well, if you don't price your cars this way, percentage of the market, you're not going to sell cars. And recently, I'll say within the last year, I've heard more vendors saying, get away from that. And now, Dale Pollock has first sold, I guess he sold to Cox, made his millions, and now it's sort of, maybe we need to reverse this thinking a little bit. Yeah, so.
I'm going to cue you. It's worse than that, because it's not like, hey, I got a wrong, I might have got this wrong. It's like, I got it wrong, but wink, wink, if you pay this money, I can fix it for you.
We can fix it for you.
That's
There's
even
another
crazier.
product they can sell, yes.
Right. So Sean and I have talked about this a little bit, and a big part a big reason I like to be a part of these different events with Sean is because he's truly a dealer advocate and looks out for dealers. But we had a lot of conversations about, you know, we hear a lot that the margins are eroding in the car business, right? And there's a direct correlation to that with the growth and the adoption of the velocity model, right? And I'm a big believer. I used V-Auto, you know, for years as a dealer as well, and I've used other technology as well to do, you know, pricing, appraising, merchandising, things like that. But it was the philosophy of you have to price your cars to be the cheapest on the market to sell your car, or very aggressively price your cars, and that was something that I truly didn't agree with. And when I heard that, I had the same reaction you did, you know, as a dealer at heart since I was a kid, right? It was like, man, I don't want to say single-handedly, but, you know, we're a big part of really causing a lot of pain and strife and, you know, directly affecting pocketbooks. Right, and so when I see, you know, you had an awesome job, Danny, by the way. Like, what you're doing right now is, I really hope that everybody in here does what you're doing. But, when you can sell on value, not just on price, you're not a commodity broker anymore. And that's what I think the industry has kind of turned into a little bit. And that analogy or the illustration you did with the warehouse is like, yeah, we don't want to just be commodity brokers. Otherwise, why would I buy a car from you versus anybody else? So that's my 2 cents.
No, I think it's appropriate. Perfect timing. I appreciate that. Okay, so now, Roy, can you just, as a pre-owned director, what other avenues do you use to be able to drive traffic to your organization for used cars?
Our dealership in general, we run a Volkswagen point in Corpus Christi, Texas. We got another Volkswagen point in Waco, and then a Dodge store in Dallas. But the Volkswagen in general in Corpus, we're about 120 miles away from a major metroplex, San Antonio, Texas. And with tools like AutoTrader and CarGurus in particular, it would take about 5 or 6 pages for you to finally get into my pre-owned inventory, because the first were filled up with Carvana and CarMax and so on and so forth. And if you guys know about V-dubs, pre-owned ones in particular, their NADAs aren't the greatest. Black books are a little bit better, but the NADA is not the greatest. Your typical lender will go off of that NADA, and when we're taking in quality pre-owned Volkswagens, we put a lifetime powertrain warranty onto them. It makes it a little more difficult to price the way that your Carvana and some of these bigger major dealers are. So when we did our checks on return on investment and whatnot, we decided to get away from CarGurus and get away from the Viato as well, or AutoTrader as well. We focused on our marketplace, and we basically set up our own little deal, similar to.
What do you mean marketplace?
Our Facebook marketplace.
Okay, there's some people who are like, what?
So we decided to utilize the technology that we had in front of us. A majority of our sales consultants are going to be millennials, that Gen Y, Gen Z, very tech savvy. So we had one particular individual create a page called 361 Cars for Sale. And based off that page, he has hundreds of thousands of customers that come on, and we can advertise our vehicles, but we did it in a way to where it's not just specifically for us. We open it up to the public. So any dealer, any private seller, anybody can go on there as long as you designate who you are. If you're a dealer, designate you're a dealer. If you're a private seller, designate so. You can put your vehicles on there, you can get exposure, but by creating that page and then making it part of our process, I believe earlier they stated, phone calls, text message, email. Now you're adding the direct messages, you're adding the Facebook posts. That's part of our daily routine. We're tracking how many calls they're making, we're tracking the text messages.
Question. How many people here are utilizing Facebook Marketplace? Raise your hand. Not nearly enough. Okay, so hello, people that specialize in that stuff, help them out here. You know what I mean? Like, that is absolutely huge. Continue, sir.
Yeah, so that there, when we're tracking their posts, we're making it where they have to post at least 3 times a day. We pick out in particular vehicles that we want, and we give them pre-owned specials, manager specials, so on and so forth. We actually didn't take a hit like we thought we were. We've grown, and then our average per copy has gotten, I think it went up almost $900 in doing so.
Are you serious?
Yeah. Your customers that are on the Facebook Marketplace, they're not necessarily shopping you with any other dealers. It's what's on that little feed there. So when you're dealing with other dealers, it's kind of taken away that velocity mentality where you're trying to get to the bottom as quick as you can, and dealers are starting to notice, hey, we can price accordingly, we can price fairly. We utilize Carfax. I think Carfax, if you're a client of theirs, when you click your Carfax, you can actually see what their recommended retail price is, and it's pretty aggressive. It's not as low as some of these other vendors are using. So
let me just talk about that real quick. And it's funny. Do you remember Kalina's friend? She got clickbaited on Facebook Marketplace. Yeah, you sold? Yeah. So what happens is that my daughter is 18 years old. Her best friend was looking to get a vehicle. She found it at Facebook Marketplace. I mean, again, you're talking about the millennials and the generation, Zs, that demographic. They are absolutely, prime opportunity for Facebook Marketplace. And the dealer, it was actually an independent dealer that was in North Jersey. I don't think they knew what they were doing. They just put the car on there, but it blew up. I mean, I was trying to help her out, and then I finally got, RK Chevrolet involved. But I'm just saying to you, I would agree. How did you learn about Facebook Marketplace, and how did you learn how to utilize it? Because not everybody's doing it here, and well, where do I start?
So we had the associate that I'm speaking of used to utilize Craigslist quite a bit, and that was his go-to source. We had the referral program. If you could buy a vehicle from somebody off the street, we'd spiff them $100. And of course, if you sell the car, you get your commissions from it. Well, after a while, the Craigslist thing kind of got saturated. Everybody in the dealership was utilizing it. And Facebook Marketplace really hadn't taken off. So he created this deal, and he came to me and he said, hey, Roy, I've got an idea, but I don't know how to make it work. So we sat down together, and we created that 361 Cars for Sale. And in doing so, at first I thought, you know what, this is perfect. Let's keep it for us. But when we opened it up to the public and letting everybody utilize it, the amount of people that joined, I mean, jumped up 100%. So yeah, we just trial and error, playing with it.
Yeah, this Facebook thing, Danny and I were talking last night, and really and truly, in light of the inventory being on all these sites, and they have all of our VIN numbers and all of our data in the VIN decoder, how do we navigate away from that? And really, even who was it? Was it Brian earlier today with marketing? Yes. Yeah. So Brian was talking about the Facebook and being unique and so on and so forth. So there's a couple things that I could share with you that work tremendously. Obviously, if you're looking at your KPIs and you're trying to get all your return on investment. The stuff that you do on Facebook, if you're not doing any target marketing, which most people just boost, but you can actually go in the back screen, you can do the target marketing and do the lookalike audiences. It's not that difficult. I taught myself. It took me 2 months. You can Google almost anything, you know. But again, getting the leads from Facebook to your CRM. So you may want to write down Leads Bridge. Leads Bridge is one of the very few ways you can actually get the lead from Facebook into the CRM. You also can look up Tecobi, Tecobi. Again, it's a great tool. I don't get paid from any of these sources. I'm just sharing with you. When you get a Facebook lead, you got to figure out how you can contact them directly. Tecobi, actually, when a customer submits the lead, they push the button on the video or the static image you have. Immediately, Tecobi texts them, and all your sales staff is notified immediately that there is a lead that just came in that just got texted by, you know, an Autobot. So you can get engaged with the customer immediately. You know, without having to have the phone call, you're immediately texting the customer. You can also do it through instant messenger. So 2 great tools that allow you to do that. Now, the other thing I would share with you that keeps your inventory, instead of, you know, just putting your cars out there, you just want the lead. I could spend $5,000 or $6,000 or $7,000 on lead generation and get 750, 800 leads, $7, $8, $9 cost per lead. And again, the customer is not typing in any of their information. I'm telling them, here's the video, here's what we do, click the link right here, you know, click the button. They click the button, and all they do is hit submit, boom, I got all their information. It goes right into my CRM, and off we go. So it's not hard to figure out some of this stuff out, but I'm not selling a car. I'm selling the dealership, and I'm selling basically 3 things like I shared with Danny. I'm sharing the pain, the possibility, and the path. Every single marketing thing that I do is pain, possibility, and path. I hit the pain points, just like closing a deal one-on-one. It's the same exact thing. I'm talking about the time it takes to buy a car. I'm talking about the back and forth. I'm talking about the drama they go through. I'm getting that emotion out of them. I'm going to share with them the possibility of something greater, something different, and I'm going to walk them right down the path, and they're going to click the button. So again, I think Facebook is a phenomenal way. If you're not using Facebook, you know, if you're charismatic or you can do video, I would suggest that versus static imaging. But I know people that do static photos with a strong call to action that do very well. And the other thing that I think is important is you have these staffed events that people do. You can actually do a staffed event with no prizes, no gifts, no scratch-offs every weekend at your dealership with a Facebook event, whether it's KBB, whether it's a stimulus package. There's several different ways you can do it. And again, you can drive. For the store I just recently sold for us, if we sold 20 cars, 25 cars in a week, that was pretty big, and we would sell 20 cars in 3 days, like clockwork, every single time. So Facebook is definitely a source that you really need to dig into and figure out how to make that happen.
I had a question. So the mic. Now, that's crazy coming from a dealer principal. My question, though, is what do you say is, as you just sold your, so I still think it was a DP because it was only a week ago, but there's dealerships out there that block social media at their dealerships. It drives me crazy for the internet departments or the BDCs. They can't access Facebook. Cameron, right or wrong? I see you like, amen, right? So how do you feel like, that in 2019, you're blocking YouTube, you're blocking Facebook, you're blocking all these social media channels?
You're going to ask me that question?
Yes,
you
bro.
That.
No,
that's ridiculous. I mean, in my opinion, if you're trying to have independent consultants become true professionals, they need to be branding themselves in every way, shape, or form. They need to have their own business on Facebook within the business about your business, and we should be pushing these people to go live, hit the button every day, go live, walk the lot. I mean, that's you know, it's ridiculous for them to be in any store. I mean, I didn't operate that way, so I would totally be pushing my people to go on Facebook and pushing them to be able to share everything and include the employees.
Now, were you a PhD? Papa has a dealership or no?
No.
So yeah, no, right? So
I was
so
not.
tell him you were a salesperson, right?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
folks, you're talking like this is a dude that was a sales consultant that became a dealer principal, sold a dealership, did it again, sold it again. So again, think about it. Correlate what he's saying here. This is a DP that understands about the importance of social media, Facebook, and that's why he's able to do what he does at the level he does. Make sense? So thank you
Appreciate
so
that,
much
John.
on that. Now, my very good friend, John Luciano. John, the reason why I picked you, me and, Jim kind of sandbagged you, was because I want to give some alternate solutions. Because a lot of times people think that the only thing you could do is like Cars.com or AutoTrader or CarGurus. But the reality is that there's a lot of other lead source providers that provide used cars, but that's not their primary thing, so they don't think of it. For example, AutoWeb is predominantly, they're known for new cars, but they have a used car program. Cars Direct has a used car program. Interactive Financial back there is special finance, which what? Could sell a lot of used cars and gross. But there's something that I just found out that you told me that you just did from NADA, right? Which is the True Car True program? Yeah, so what is it? Can you explain that? True Car Trade, sorry.
We just
Car
signed
Trade.
up for, True Car
Okay.
Trade. We're brand new with it, so it's really, we've got very little experience, but the little experience that we've had with it,
Can you explain what it is exactly?
we've been very successful. So True Car's now not only, and I'm speaking for True Car and they're here,
That's all right.
but so if I make a mistake, let me know. They're not only trying to sell cars, they're trying to actually help dealers acquire cars as well. A lot of it, it's basically, you go on their website, do you want to buy a car? Do you want to sell your car? There's basically two buttons there instead of one. When they click on selling their car, it takes them to a format where they can input their information. And at the end of it, it gives them a value based off of the information that they put in. I think it's clear, for us at least, I can say, in reference to what Jim was saying, and not trying to get off track, I'm going somewhere with this, but this particular customer was a CarGurus, we believe was a CarGurus, this person who put this Better Business Bureau complaint in. She kept saying, we were trying to sell the car for $19,500, but the value was $18,000. And I'm sitting there thinking, how does she know what the value is? I mean, it's clear that, like what Danny was saying, CarGurus basically told her what the value was, and it's clear that the customer's going to believe a third party before they believe the dealer, for obvious reasons, for over the years as far as what we've been a part of that problem. True Cars is that third-party lead source that I think, I know that customers trust more than the dealer. So, yeah, it's that validation. It's a good point. Yeah, so that's what attracted me to it. I would always, whenever we would trade a car, I would always tell my salespeople when they were doing the appraisal, go around the back of the car, look at the sticker that's on the back of it. If it was the Dodge dealer down the street, if it was ABC Dodge down the street, when I presented the numbers to the customer, I would always say, look, the car you're buying from us is $20,000. Your trade-in, we called ABC Dodge where you bought it. They put a value of $10,000 on it. And immediately try to get sense of, what their reaction is. When we take us out of the appraising process and give it to somebody else, we're not the bad guy anymore. So the True Car Trade really helped us, get to that point, and we can blame it on True Car, basically, if we don't give them enough. So yeah. So once they get that number, also, it's a guaranteed number. So True Car will buy that car. They will write you a check for that amount, and then so far we've bought 2 cars off of it. We've really only been doing it for about 2 weeks. We bought 2 cars for the right money. One of the cars, just to give you an example, the customer input the wrong information. They put in it was a F-150 base when it was actually an F-150 Lariat. And they were happy with the number that they were giving them already coming in to get a check, and we gave them a check for a little bit more, obviously, because we told them it was Lariat. But when we do this, we print it out. It works best, obviously, for TrueCar customers, because TrueCar customers that are coming in off the buying service, they trust TrueCar for obvious reasons. When we print out an appraisal that says TrueCar at the top, needless to say, that's that third-party validation. We're not the bad guy, and it seems to work for us. As far as lead providers, we've been off Cars.com and AutoTrader for 4 years.
Years.
Yeah, 4 years we've been off of them, and the reasoning for me at least was the majority of the cars that we sell are certified with the manufacturer. I found that we were paying AutoTrader $2,500 a month. I think at that point 60% of our used car inventory was certified, and the manufacturers were paying for our cars to be on the site anyway. So by me cutting it out, all I'm cutting is 35 to 40% of my inventory off, and we're not paying any money. And what Danny was saying, when we got off of that, our numbers didn't go down at all, not $1. So
I want to just jump in because, again, we could talk about this forever, but this is what I wanted to have happen. Any relationship, business or professional, needs to be built on win-win, okay? Once one of the scales gets tipped, that's where divorce, cheating, anger, frustration, disappointment, murder happens. Agree or disagreed? Yes or no? Okay, and so there's a difference of being a profitable business from being a parasitic bottom feeder that doesn't care about your people. And again, I'll give you an example. Do you remember the interview that we did at your dealership? What you told me about the female prospect that came in and said to you, no, you're going to give me this car for this price because, do you remember why? It was how long was aged on inventory.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
This is crazy.
So I call it disruptive data. CarGurus, right underneath the photos, says this dealer has had this vehicle on the lot for 45 days. And the header is negotiating tools. What? So obviously they don't know that it took me, whatever, a week and a half, 2 weeks to procure the car, 6 days to recondition the car, 4 days to get the car ready for online. And now it's just coming to market, and my customers using this disruptive data.
So let me make sure I understand this correctly. We're going to close on this because I think point's made is that, so there's certain companies, specifically like CarGurus, that uses your inventory, your actual inventory. That's how the majority of the leads are generated from vehicle-based opportunities from VDPs, correct? So they're using your own inventory, which is going to drive more traffic to their website. Sometimes they don't even have your permission. They scrape the data and they take your inventory without your permission, right? And then because they get more traffic, they use that bullshit to say, now you're going to pay me more. Wait a minute, you're using my inventory to get more traffic and more views, and because of that, I have the privilege to pay you more. And then, by the way, when people are looking for my F-150 that's in stock, it's going to say, psst, wink, wink. Other people that are looking for this car are looking for this, which is going to go to your competitor. And then, by the way, wink, wink, you could get it even cheaper, if you turn around and let them know that we know it's been on stock for 45, days. Now, you might think, well, Amazon, bullshit. I'm not spending $30,000 a month for Amazon. Do you understand there's a difference here? You can't use that argument. If you're paying somebody like shame on you, CarGurus, to be able to, market your inventory, they shouldn't be using your inventory like Steven Seagal against you. Aikido, for you slow people, right? So that's what they're doing. They're using your inventory against you to get more money and justify all their bullshit shenanigans. Am I correct, panel?
Totally correct.
Okay, so again, what do you say to people that are scared to get off CarGurus or any other parasitic vendor out there?
My whole presentation, invest in yourself. Begin to look at your org chart, begin to look at how to invest in your own people and use tools. And then it's a process. It took you time to live this way. It's going to take you time to change it.
I would just say that when you think you're going to drop one of these vendors, business is going to go down. It's not. We've seen it through AutoTrader, Cars.com, CarGurus actually went up. Yeah, save the money and reinvest or put it back or put it to the bottom line.
All right, listen, last statement, because we are over as always.
To piggyback off of what Danny was saying, invest in yourself and your people. There's so many, we had this discussion at lunch, there's so many tools and things that your CRMs or your service department, or there's so many ways that you can generate business without utilizing some of these other companies. So utilize and maximize what you got in front of you before you go out and spend an extra dollar on something else. So.
If you like the information you found here, then you will absolutely love Bradley On Demand. Bradley On Demand is the most comprehensive, in-depth virtual training platform in the automotive industry. We teach you everything from internet sales to phone sales, F&I, and everything in between. So sign up at www.bradleyondemand.com.